Good evening, everyone, and I'm here today to record a build order of the Fast Castle. And this build order will have two parts. I will show how you do it when you are going for the Knights strategy and when you are going for the Crossbowman strategy. When I'm speaking about Fast Castle, I'm thinking about going castle the fast as I can with a sustainable economy in order to keep making an army and keep developing my economy. So I will start this video here with the Saracens. And the reason that I chose the Saracens is that they have no economical bonuses. So anything you can do with the Saracens, you can do with any other civilization. Okay, so starting here, the first thing that I do with most civilizations is to build two houses in the beginning, and then I'm gonna select 6 villagers to the ship. One thing that I like to do is to task a key number to those groups, so I can basically coordinate all my ship gatherers from the number. For example, I select all of those and press Ctrl and 4. So every time I press 4, I'm gonna go to this control group here, and this is important for me. I'm gonna keep 6 villagers here on the ship. And one important thing is, when you are eating the ship, always have the next one dead right at the side. So you are going to diminish the idle time of your villagers and be more effective when eating it. So I'm scouting here with the scout, helping with the ship. I need to find all the standard resources, so this build order here will feature all the standard resources that you can find in Arabia and in most maps. 8 ships and 2 boars, those are the food sources, with the berries, of course. You see, I finished the ship and the other is right on the side, so really few idle time. Another detail here that I like to do is to keep the villagers on the wood, each one in one different wood, so they are going to be more effective. For example, I have this one here on this wood, the other villager here, the other here, and the 4th villager of the wood is going to be here. I found 2 more ships, so I will keep scouting in circles until I found the other ones. Now that I start eating the 4th ship, I will just send a villager there to get the first boar. That's the timing that I do, because I want to have all the other 4 ships here. When I need to eat them, I'm gonna do so. So the villager is here, hitting twice the boar. If you are not comfortable to lure the boar without loom, some maps the boar is really far and not in a safe position, just do the loom. You are doing yourself a favor. I'm gonna make another house. And okay, I'm gonna get the boar. One thing that I like to do is to put 8 villagers here on the board. So right now I have 7 runners. I'm gonna select one more there to get in, and I still have to find the other board, so I'm a bit late. Let me now make a meal in order to eat those berries. And the build order here is quite simple. I start with 6 on ship, then I add 4 villagers to the wood, keep adding, go for the hunt, keep 8 villagers on the board, and now that I have 8 villagers on the board, I'm gonna keep sending villagers to the berries until I have 14 villagers on the food. Which means that I will have 8 villagers here taking the boars, and I will have 6 more villagers here on the berries. So this is my plan. Let me now test to get the other boar. It's good to go to the other boar when you are close to 150 food. I'm a bit late here, so my town center might be idle for a few seconds because of that. This is not optimum, but I can live with this. So okay, I right now have 12 villagers taking food, and I want to have 14 villagers. 14 is the key number for you if you are going to go for a fast castle. You want to have 14 villagers taking food, collecting food. It's better if you have more sheep, it's better if you have more hunt, but I like to do this really standard build order because in game situations, often you are too busy with your scout and you are doing a lot of things, so you are not able to lure deers or to use those food sources, and because of that, you end up needing to sacrifice and do a really basic economy. So that's why those build orders are useful. If you can do the basic, you can improve from there. Now that I have 14 villagers on the food, I'm gonna let 10 villagers on the wood. 5 are going to this wood here, and I'm going to put 5 more in a different wood, in a different place, a different spot. This is really important because for defense purposes, if enemy is able to block one of my woods, I will still have the other one working, so that's something I want to do. After I finish eating the boar, I'm gonna eat the sheep. Okay, finish the boar. 4 villagers to each sheep here, and I still have 2 more, so no problem at all. 5 villagers on this wood. 3 go into this one, I need more. After I finish going to the woods, I'm going to send 3 more villagers to get the gold. Remember that I also have those 6 villagers here, so the total of 14 villagers is being respected here, and I will keep respecting this number for long time until I'm on Castle Age. A good idea here is also to micro your villagers on the woods. 1 villager per wood, like I said. On the sheep, divide them like this. On the mule as well, try to divide those. Do not let them be stuck in each other. It's not healthy for your economy. And the key here is to have 8 villagers on the food. So once I finish eating the sheep, I'm gonna make farms around my town center. And this is really important, I think, because if you don't have those villagers on food, you won't have enough food to go to Castle Age. So it's quite simple. You can make 8 farms in the worst case. This is the worst case. In the others, you might have extra sheep, you might have deers, so you can use those other food sources. And on the town center, around the town center, you can just put exactly 8 farms, which is great. It's a good for you to remember. If you have a town center surrounded by farms, you're going to be okay. After the 3 villagers, if you have not made the loom yet, this is the time, because your enemies might be at the gate and you might be in a hurry. So I'm finishing here to eat the sheep, and I will make the last 2 farms here. Okay, 8 farms, 6 villagers on the berries, a total of 14 villagers is still being respected on the food. When you are going up, you are going to make a barracks. This is the basics of the fast castle. I need to make a barracks because in order to make a stable or an archer range, I need to have the barracks first. And I will need 2 buildings in order to go to the castle age, so I'm planning to make, for example, a stable and a blacksmith. It's also good if you can build like this, doing a perimeter around your own base for protective purposes. This is really nice. Keep microing the villagers. Oh, on the woods. Do not let them stuck. Do not let them get stuck in the gold. Keep doing this. I'm gonna pause this game as the moment as I hit on feudal age, because the start can be the same for any of your build orders, but then we are going to make different things by the moment we try to go for knights or we try to go for the crossbowmen. So as soon as I hit the feudal age, I'm gonna pause, and if you follow the resources, we have almost the amount that we need to go to the castle age, huh? So now I'm about to click feudal age. I already have 400 wood, which will allow me to make the buildings that I need, and I already have the gold that I need to go up. So the resources are perfect here for me to place the 2 buildings and to go castle. Let me save here this chapter as, oh no, not chapter, let me save this as the fast castle until full dark age. I'm gonna go back there to keep making the build order for the crossbowmen later. Okay, now I'm on feudal. I'm gonna select 2 villagers to make a stable, 1 villager here to make a blacksmith, and I will task 2 more villagers to the gold. And this is really important. I want 2 more villagers on the gold. Now that I finish my berries, I'm gonna task one villager to each one of the woods, and the other villagers here are going to collect the woods around the town center until I have a new destination for them. So I'm gonna click up now that I did these two villagers. So I just click it up. I'm gonna make the horse collar in order to have better farms. I'm gonna make also more houses because if not I'm gonna be housed. And the wood up, that's really important. Okay, now that I'm doing so, and I have 6 villagers in each one of the woods here, and a few extra villagers collecting wood, I can make the second stable in order to make a lot of knights, and I can use the extra villagers here to make houses. I can build those houses in a defensive way. For example, if I build houses here, I'm gonna block this area from my enemy. If I keep making houses here as well, and I'm gonna make extra farms because I want to have at least 12 farms. Okay, this is really important because I want to keep the night production for some time. So I'm gonna place the farms. I can place around the TC. I can place around the mill. The good thing here is that you are going to make protected farms, and those are going to be in strategical locations. Right now I finish it to build here the stables. Enemies attacking with a few skirmishers. Annoying, huh? And I have 11 farms. Now I have 12 farms. So I have 12 farms, I have those villagers here on the gold. And I will start making knights. So if my enemy is rushing me on feudal age like this, I will have one of the best units of the game to defend myself. So I'm really not worried. Now that I'm about to go castle, I'm going to make a few upgrades. I'm keeping 5 villagers here. All the others are on the wood, and as soon as I advance, I will keep making villagers to the wood if I want, and I can make knights. You see, I'm making 2 knights in each stable here, and I'm going to make the wood upgrade, the bow saw. So here guys, let me pause for a second. We are with 16 minutes and a half. I'm on castle age. I'm going for the second wood up, which will make my economy much better than any other players in the game if they are not going for fast castle. And I'm making knights from 2 stables. This is really standard when you are playing on the Arabia as pocket in the middle positions. So the key here is that you are going to choose between going for booming and going for more knights. So the thing here is, if you want to just do those first knights and go for boom, you will drop down centers immediately around the resources in a protective way, and will keep making villagers from your town centers. If you want to keep adding knights, for example, if you want to mess like 20 or 20, about 20 knights before you start booming, I suggest you to place more farms and go to and send more villagers to the gold. And now some tip. This is not usual to keep going all those nights. It's usual to make like 4 to 8 nights and then you switch into a few booming, so you can later on the late castle age be a lot stronger. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stop at like 6 or 8 nights, and in order to keep booming, I will now add more town centers. I can, for example, add a town center here on the wood. The knights are here, killing everything they can. Those villagers are just enough to keep my knight production to a minimum. So now I have those knights, I'm gonna task a few more. I will have 6 knights here already, and I'm making the town centers. Remember that we did a lot of farms, so I'm gonna have to reseed those 8 farms. 8 plus 60, this means that I need 480 food in order to keep those farms working, so I will need to spend all my wood here to remake farms. Since I have 12 farms, I can keep 2 town centers producing food, so that's not a problem. 2 more, and only 1 more, so I will have reseeded all the 8 farms. Remember that your wood is gonna be really much better than it is in build orders like the feudal ones, so do not worry. And do not forget that you can keep making knights if you want. Here I stopped at those knights here. Now that I have 2 town centers working and 6 farms, I can think of adding more farms, more town centers. 3 town centers is just fine, so I'm gonna add here another town center, but this town center will be useless if I do not have 6 more farms to support the villager production from this town center. So I'm gonna add 6 more farms while I'm building him. 1 farm more, 2, 4 more farms to go, so I will have 18 farms and I will be able to support 3 town centers. This is the key in any build order. You must sustain your economy. You see? Making more. Only after this I will need still 2 more farms in order to keep this town center working. So I'm gonna add 1 here, another 1 here as soon as I can. Okay, now I have 3 town centers and I have 18 farms with 20 minutes, so I can keep those town centers working. This is really important. Okay, now the key is, if I want to keep booming, I just need to keep making the villagers, keep making the houses, keep making the farms. But if I want to switch back once again into knights, I need to add more farms. So what I'm gonna do is to task villagers to make new farms here. And those new farms are going to provide my economy enough power to support the production of knights, and I will be able to keep making knights. One thing that I also find important when you are going for the fast castle and doing this kind of small boom is that you upgrade your knights, because until now, 21 minutes, all your enemies are on feudal age. So those standard knights here are pretty much strong to deal with any kind of threat that you could have to deal. But once you pass the 22, 23 mark, your enemies are going to have massed crossbows. The flanks are going to make their own knights as well. So enemy will be really strong. And my suggestion for you is to upgrade your knights if this happens. Let me make now the wheelbarrow, because I'm past the 50 villager mark. I passed for a bit. I believe that I have close to 30 farms and I can start making the knights again. So I can restart making the knights, and I can even add more stables. If you're playing as the pocket, I suggest you to add a minimum, and I repeat, a minimum of 4 stables before 24 minutes if possible, because this will allow you to make a really good production of knights. That can be the key for your team to win. If you have not upgraded the gold mining, this is also the time. And of course, keep making knights and make the 4 stables here. You might have noticed that I'm not housed. That's because once I start booming, I always have this 1 villager here that I call my builder. And this official builder here has the task of keep making the houses, so I'm never housed again. Right now, enemies might have the massed crossbows, so one thing that I suggest you to do at this point of the game is to make the armors for your knights. You need, the key here is to have, for example, the bloodlines that will add more HP if your civilization has it, and the +2 armor for the knights. I'm kind of overboomed here a bit. You could have returned to the knights a bit faster if you wanted. Maybe I'm overreacting myself a bit today. But that's because I'm really much more boomer than a standard player. You need to send villagers to the gold. If you have a lot of wood like this, it's a good idea to retask a few villagers to the gold once again. And now it's just a matter of keep adding knights and knights and knights and knights and knights and helping your allies. If you need to defend yourself, a good idea is to make the houses and your buildings as a wall, like I'm doing here. If you have extra wood like this, you can add more farms. If you are going for a full night rush, having lots of farms is not a bad idea. I'm gonna complete my armor right now. And guys, this is the game that you are going to do. Now for a really long time you are really being committed to make more and more knights from your stables. And that's it. That's not much to add. After you are on this point, you are going to prepare yourself to go Imperial. In some cases, and some really few cases, you might feel forced to make more and more knights. So in some situations, it will be better for you to keep adding, for example, 6, 7, even 8 stables to keep massing knights, but this is kind of an exception. You will know when you need it. It will be in some games where you won't have time to survive until Imperial Ages, so everything that you can do is to try to survive, and you are going to need army for this. So in these very specific cases, what you want to do is to keep adding stables. But for me now, I will be really just fine with those knights. They are totally being useful for me. And once you are getting close to the 28-30 minute mark, you already have like 46 farms like I have, a lot of gold miners. You can be thinking of going Imperial. And to go Imperial, all that you need is to make 2 buildings. For example, I'm going to make a university here and a church, for example. And because of this, with this we are going to be able to go Imperial. The idea here as Pocket is never go Imperial too late, because since you are the one that is booming first, you will probably be the one that your team is expecting to be first to Imperial, the first to go for the Paladins or for other units here on Imperial Age. You can upgrade the attack for the Knights, you can keep up making other upgrades. I'm collecting tons of gold here. My farms are beginning to stop now, so I'm going to reinvest all my wood here for a few time into remaking those farms, and once those Castle Age farms starting to run, a good idea is to make the Reviplow, if you have no Reviplow yet. It's this upgrade here on the mill, because we're going to remake all the farms. And guys, I'm about to click up here to Imperial Age. You see, you can do, for example, a really big pack of knights and still click with like 30 minutes. There's no problem in doing this. It's exactly because you're booming. Booming is the key here. And of course, on Imperial, each civilization is different. You might have a civilization that it will just allow you to keep making knights. If you are playing with another civilization like I am here with the Saracens that have no cavaliers, no paladins, you might be preparing to change your units. And of course, at this point of the game, with this population, you need at least 6 buildings of any kind producing army. So if you're going crossbows, you need at least 6 archery ranges. If you're going for knights or camels, for example, in the case of the Saracens, you need at least 6 stables. And also a good idea is to start collecting stone, because no matter what civilization you are going to need a castle sooner or later to add trebuchets, to make conscription, to have yourself the ability to make unique research like the Saracens have, the ones that improve the camels. And that's pretty much it for the game of the Pocket with knights. There's some variation to this strategy, as I said. Some players are going to commit themselves to make more and more knights before they really booming. Some others are going to go for only one stable fast castle, and with this one stable fast castle, those guys are going to just use the extra time that they are gaining to make a faster booming. But anyway, no matter how much you are playing, if you're playing Arabia, you will mostly have to have at least 4 stables in order to support your teammates. That's what I expect from you, and that's also what your teammates are expecting from you. You are gonna have to do lots of army. Now I'm on Imperial with 33 minutes here. I have these big armies here, and all I can do is keep expanding, keep making the upgrades. 3 town centers are enough here for me. Here I can upgrade the camel, here I can upgrade the wood, I can upgrade the armor. And if you're playing with units like the horses or the infantry, the first thing that you want to upgrade is always the armor and not the attack. Always start with the armor if your unit has the melee attack. This is really important. And that's it, guys. I think there is nowhere to keep going from here. I would put a castle, I could switch into Mamelukes later, I could start to make the trade if I'm playing a team game, I could start making more markets and upgrading the trade. So that's pretty much what I want to do. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope this gives you some sense of how you manage your economy. It's really quite simple. You just have to keep the things working. This is the basics, and once you have everything working, there's nothing else to be done. Just keep making army and use your army the best you can. I hope you have enjoyed this build order, and now I'm going to stop. So this was the build order for the knights. Quite simple one, but works. No big deal. Now that I've finished this, I'm going to make one more game. And in this next game here, I'm going to make a second version here of the build order, but now this time featuring how you should play with the crossbows. Okay, let me return here to AOC scene. Let me load here the Fast Castle Food Arcade. And this, guys, is the game that I was done before. I'm on the feudal age once again. I have 8 farms, I'm eating the berries, and this time, instead of going for the cavalry, I'm going for crossbows. So I just advanced, so I'm going to make an archer range. I'm going to make a blacksmith instead of stable, and I'm going to send a few more villagers to gold. Once I finish collecting here those farms, those berries, I'm going to send all the villagers to the wood, with the exception of 2 villagers that are going to remain as food collectors, as farmers in the example. So I'm going up with 10 villagers here collecting food from the farms. Okay, so I'm going up. All the other villagers are collecting wood. I'm going to make the wood upgrade, and I will also retask one of those villagers because I want to have a minimum of 6 villagers here on the gold. And I'm starting to make the archers as soon as I can. I just need the house. I should have made this house a bit earlier. Okay, I'm fucking up. You're going to see that the difference between the knight and the crossbowman is that with the crossbowman you will keep making archers forever. It's not like the knights that are really expensive and you have to make a few and stop to take care of your economy. The archers are not like this. The archers are just fine for the economy because they are cheap and they cost no food. So once you start making the archers, man, you are going to keep make those dudes forever. Please get used to this. So I'm making archers here. I'm going for the second archery range. I'm once again going for the houses that I was doing in the previous game. The ones that are going to defend my base here on the right side. And one important thing is for the archers is that different from the knights, they really need the upgrades. So in order to be at least functional, you always will need to make the fletching. This upgrade here will give you 1 extra attack and 1 extra range, and this is really important. You can, for example, when you have crossbows, outrange units like the skirmishers. So even by encounters, they might be not able to kill your archers. Now I'm on Castle Age. I'm going to upgrade the wood as always. And after I upgrade the wood, I'm going to upgrade the crossbowman here. Different from the knights, by the time I reach Castle, I already have at least 5 or 6 archers. So if I was going for the knights, I would be starting now to make the knights, but with the archers I already have those. And another thing that I find really, really important when you are going for the archers is that it's always good to have a good position. It's always good to keep yourself on some hill or somewhere that give you some advantage, like this hill here. And now that I'm keep making my villagers and I will keep the production of archers, it's just a matter of choosing what upgrades I will need. If you are going to be really aggressive or you need to have one more extra range, you feel this need, you might just sacrifice a bit of your economy, get more gold, and make the Bodkin arrow the second upgrade for the archers. If the fletching alone is enough to keep you in the game, then you are really lucky because you don't need to do anything else. You just have to go there for the to keep the crossbow. Your farms are going to go over different from the knights. I can already go for 2 more town centers with only 5 to 6 villagers on the gold. I will keep the production, and my economy I will keep making archers because I'm not food dependent as I am when I'm doing the knights. And this is one of the big keys of going archers. Your booming is going to be much better, but archers are slower. They are not as strong as the knights are on the castle age. So one of the secrets of making the crossbowmen useful is to keep them always in numbers, is to keep them always massed. So if you have massed archers, you are doing it right. If you are always keeping your numbers low, you are doing a bad job. So here, no secret, keep making the farms in order to make your town centers work. Sometimes you might wait a bit to add more town centers. Some other times you might just add 3 town centers right away like I did here. Even if you let them idle for a bit, there will be some cases where having more town centers is good because you will have this defensive tool where you can just gather the villagers and rid yourself from any kind of danger. This is one of the uses of the town center. They are not mainly building to make villagers. And from here you are just keep to making farms for the town centers, archers on the archery ranges, houses when you are getting close to the house number, and that's how game is gonna go. I don't think there will be much variation from here from what you have seen in the night. The basics of the booming are the same. What you want to do is to have at least 18 farms, because with these 18 farms you will keep the town centers all producing. And of course, different from the knights, you never stop at making archers, only if you needed to invest a lot in economy or if you didn't need all this army. But usually you want to keep making archers. Right now I have 18 farms, making houses,